feel free to stay, grab some tea, sit down, we'll have a chat, and yeah, we'll enjoy our little tea time. Hello, beautiful people, welcome. My name is Inka if you haven't seen any of my videos before. Tonight, we're going to talk about youth mobility visas. Specifically, if you're Canadian and living in Toronto, I'm gonna talk about the youth mobility visa for Spain. That's something that you're interested in, and if that's something that you've been thinking about for a while, marinating, this might be a cozy video for you. Full disclosure, before anyone roasts me or corrects me, this is specifically my experience with the application itself. With visas and these types of applications, they're different for each person. They're different depending on a lot of things. So it depends on which country you're applying for, the time that you're applying, depending on the status of the country as well during that time. It all differs. This is what I went through and what I did during the whole process. Grab some tea, let's sit down, and we'll talk about this visa thing. By the way, with anything that I do mention in this video about the youth mobility visa for Spain, I have a link below that takes you directly to their Spanish consulate in Toronto. I think it's for all of Canada, and it has all the requirements, all the forms that you would need to fill out, all the things that you need to know with regards to the visa. I'm literally just talking about my experience. That will not be as informative as the page. You guys, now I have a list. I have a list of things to talk about. I don't want to miss anything. So anyway, let me just go right into it. What is a youth mobility visa? It's a visa designed to encourage people within the younger age range to travel a little bit more, to get to know a culture, be it learning in school, learning the language, or working locally. So for Spain, as the age range was from 18 to 35, I think that is still true to this day. Second question, how long does the visa last? It's either 6 months or 12 months. It depends on which visa you apply for, or even if you did apply for the 12-month visa, they might just still give you the 6 months. Now I break out the tea because we love bureaucracy. If you love that, I salute you. I cannot, I do my own taxes. I filled out this application myself, but did I cry? Think, why am I doing this so many times? Yes, I did. It was painful, but we still did it. What's the first half of the process? And that's in Canada. And this is also mentioned in the link that I have down below. First part of the process, you have to gather all the requirements. This is my experience in Toronto. It's split in two. It's like, if you haven't gotten your NIE or NIE yet, then you'll have to apply for that. I didn't have an NIE, which is your identification number. It's like your SIN number if you're from Canada. Once you've gathered all your requirements, I sent mine to the office. I know in Toronto, you have to book an appointment, submit your application, but I did mine slightly different. I'm not sure if you can still do it, so just be mindful that this is my experience again. And when they received it, I did get a call from someone from the office. We need you to come in to verify something. When they gave me that call, literally in the morning, I went during my lunch break and just went down to the office. In her mind, it was fresh that she just called me and she knows what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna be there the next day and she forgets, what phone call? So with these things, once you got somebody, you just gotta go and do it right away. Usually it takes about 2 weeks to process that, and after 2 weeks, they just give you an email saying oh, we processed your NIE. This is your number. Please keep it for your records. Once you get your NIE, they then start the process of your visa. It took about 2 weeks for me. So 2 weeks for my NIE and then another 2 weeks for my visa. Only way you would know that your visa got approved is when your passport is being sent back. You have to include an envelope with tracking inside the whole package that you do send them. Just check the tracking over and over again. More of a, okay, once you get there, they stamp your passport that you've entered the country, and then that's it. You don't need to do anything. That's what I thought. No, second half of the process. This was probably the most tiring, the most not straightforward thing ever. Back in 2019, when I applied, they didn't highlight this part of the process as explicitly as they do now. I see on the website now that they have first half of the process in Canada, second half of the process in Spain. If you want to learn or enroll in anything that needs an NIE, you will need this. If you want to work, this is essential. So don't forget this step. Once you get to Spain, make sure you stamp your entry on your visa or around that, because they will need to see when you've entered. You will need to register, like registering that you've already entered the country with that specific visa. You'll need a tourist card. This card will allow you to enroll or to work anywhere you want within that time period that you have this visa for. Story was, I tried to do it myself because I was very stubborn. So I was like, stubborn, and I wanted to do it myself. I can get an appointment with the government. Like, how hard could it be? Very hard. These appointments get swiped up really quickly if you're not fast enough. And also sometimes appointments are already booked for agencies. And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna pay anybody to do this because I can do this for free. I would wake up every day at 5 a.m. to try to swipe an appointment. And it could be an appointment for an hour away of the city. It might be different in other cities in Spain. I was in Barcelona. I was like researching what was a good time to go on the website to get an appointment, and everyone said like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. and all these things. And I'm like, oh my God. So I woke up at 5 a.m. in the morning every day trying to get an appointment. And I couldn't. And the moment, there was a day that I did. And you need to be very, very sure that that's the correct appointment. Because if it's only slightly different than what you need, they will reject whatever application. They're not gonna, like, okay, you're already here, might as well like this and that. No. They're like, oh, you didn't apply for the correct appointment. Sorry, you have to do it again. So that happened. Highly, highly recommend having someone to translate or speak on your behalf. It may be a friend or a roommate or whoever, because they will not speak English. They will speak in Spanish. What's funny is that like they even try to speak slower as if I would understand. It's the thought that counts, right? I was very lucky because during this time I've convinced one of my roommates at that time to come with me. Even if it was like a mission, it was far, and it so happens that it was her day off, and I was like, thank goodness. She came with me. We went there, and the appointment that I booked was slightly wrong. So I had to go back and I had to just accept the fact that that was my mistake. And so after that, I was like, you know what? I just want to get it over with. So what I did is I paid a little bit of money just to get this done. One of the things that I would want to impart to someone who's going through this, and sometimes to make your life easier, just pay for it. Because honestly, it's not worth the headache. It's not worth the bureaucracy. With these things, you want to be sure and you want to know you're taken care of, and you just want to go through it once You don't want mistakes with these things. You just want to go through it once and never go through it again. There's this website called NIE Barcelona. If you're doing the youth mobility visa, make sure you explain to them that you're Canadian, you're doing the youth mobility visa, you just need the TIE card. And they would know, because back then the youth mobility visa, it wasn't as common. These places, they get appointments and they book it for you, and once you get there, someone from their agency also comes with you. So even if it's like slightly more expensive than free, it makes sense. At least they know what they're doing. You know what's funny is that after weeks and weeks and weeks of waking up at 5 a.m. trying to find an appointment, after I booked them, I literally got an appointment like the next day or in the next 2 days. So after you get that, you get this piece of paper saying this is your temporary number. You have to pick up your card as well. It doesn't get sent to you. You have to pick it up after a month, I believe. This video has a lot of talking. I'm excited for this one. Or anything that's like
bureaucracy.
Wow, why was that hard to say?
Anything that's